Okay, this is slide 10. Slide 10. So we're going to talk about establish a theory of probable cause. No, we're not talking about criminal stuff. We're talking about the probable cause of the technical problem that a user's having. So the second step in the troubleshooting process is to establish a theory of probable cause. The first step was to, just to recap real quick, remember, is to identify what the problem is. They can't print, stuff like that. Second step is the second step in the troubleshooting process is to establish a theory of probable cause. What's the most likely thing that's causing this problem? No internet. What's the most likely thing that's causing it? Their Wi-Fi is not connected. Their cord's not in. Those are the first two things that I would check probably. First, create a list of the most common reasons for the error. So that would be right there. That would be it. If there's no internet connectivity, I'm checking to see if the Wi-Fi is off or connected to the wrong Wi-Fi. I'm checking to see if the cord's still plugged in. Very simple things to start off with. Even though the customer may think that there is a major problem, start with the obvious issues before moving to more complex diagnoses. So in the previous slide, we talked about asking the customer what they think's wrong. They're going to tell you that they think they have a virus because their kid was on some site and they think they got a virus and that's why the stuff's not working. And they're going to have, or they got hacked by the Russians, and they're going to just give you all kinds of crazy, complex things that they think's wrong, that there's a major problem. They're getting hacked by aliens. They don't even know what they're talking about. You want to be the voice of reason. Don't insult the customer, but you want to try to use your expertise that you will gain if you keep working hard to figure out what's a simple solution. List the easiest or most obvious causes at the top. List the more complex causes at the bottom. If necessary, conduct internal logs or a journal or external internet research. So internal is like previous logs of previous techs that worked on the problem, look through their stuff. That's internal within your company. And then external is on the internet. You have a certain problem, there's a certain, find out if someone on the internet has had the same problem and look and see if you can look over their solutions. The next steps of the troubleshooting process involve testing each possible cause. So if you're going to test each cause, you'd like to start with the simplest, right, wouldn't you? Rather than the complex. So, step 2, which is what we're talking about here, establish a theory of probable cause. Step 1 was identify the problem, right? Step 2, establish a theory of probable cause. And here is some of the things. Device is powered off. So what are they reading here? Device is powered off. Power switch for an outlet is turned off. Surge servers. Oh, so I think what they're telling you here, when you're talking about a computer not working, this is just a simple thing. They're talking about, I wish they were more specific here. They're talking about, in this instance, a computer is not working, right? So you walk into an office and their server's not, they say our server's not working. So you walk into the server closet and first you check, is the device on? That's a good check, right? There's no lights on the device. What do you think's wrong? It's not powered on, right? So then check to see if the power switch is turned off, right? The surge protector might be turned off. There might be a loose external cable connection, right? The power cable might be loose. Sometimes new power cables get a little slick. I used to have that with my speakers, my DJ speakers. When they would rattle, because they're humming with the bass is kicking, it causes the power, it would cause the brand new power cords, which were kind of slick. They were computer power cords, but they were like brand new and they were like kind of oily, and it fell out. And I thought my speaker was broken. I'm like, what is going on? I just bought these speakers, and it turned out that they just rattled out. Whereas when the power cord gets nice and dirty and gritty, it kind of stays in there. So you could also have a non-bootable disk in designated boot drive. So let's say you're telling the computer, these older ones, if you told it to boot to the floppy disk, but if it tried to boot to the floppy disk, it might get stuck right there because there was a disk in the floppy drive that's not a bootable drive, not a bootable disk. incorrect boot order in BIOS setup. So you're trying to boot to the network first, or you're trying to boot to this you have 2 hard drives. You're trying to boot to the wrong one, and the whole thing bombs out. So we changed the boot order to boot to the. You know what happens to boot order if you had Linux on there, let's say, in the flash drive, and you're telling it to boot to Linux first, right? Remember when we were loading Windows? What happened when the computer rebooted, and the Linux flash drive was still in there? It would start the whole process over to the flash drive, and it would never get to the hard drive boot, right? So boot flash drive over and over and over again. Because Windows, when you're loading Windows on the computer, it boots like a couple times. Whereas Linux, how many times did it boot? Just once, right? But Windows kept booting, so you had to like tell it not to boot to the flash anymore and start booting from the hard drive so you could finish the installation. Okay? So that was slide, was that slide 10? Slide 10. All right?